Hello friends, we'll be discussing chapter number 5 called motivation. In fact, we are learning OB, organization behavior, to understand motivation. It's a backbone of the study of OB. By understanding behaviors, by understanding people, by understanding what makes them learn, how they learn, by understanding their personalities, at the end of it, what is it that we want? We want them to work in the organization at all times with the highest peak efficiency. The fact is, all human beings cannot work with peak efficiency throughout the day. It's a human nature. We have our varying degrees of interest as the day progresses. It's possible that 9 o'clock in the morning when you enter the office, you may be very highly charged, highly motivated. But as the day progresses, 11:30, the motivation level may come down. Can I allow you to be lying low? No. After all, we are working in an organization to produce goods and services which people want. And we have to stay competitive. So at all points of time, as far as possible, my motivation level should be as high as it was at 9 o'clock in the morning. So to pump the motivation up and up and up all the time, I may not get the same enthusiasm at 9 a.m., but I've got to come somewhere near to that. So ideally, I should have a straight line motivation which is highest throughout the day, ideally. Very few people have this. As human beings, the motivation goes through a cycle, ups and downs throughout the day. Some people, they get motivated only after 11:30, 12 o'clock. Some people get motivated after lunch. Some people get motivated after 6 o'clock or 5:30. To put it in a light vein, these people are called as bosses. They make you stay late. Okay, take it easy. No offense meant against bosses. Right? Now what happens is, friends, each one of us have got a biorhythm of motivation throughout the day. I call it a biorhythm. Some people are morning people. Some people are afternoon people. Some people are evening people. And some people are night people. But there are some other people, again to put it in a light vein, they are no time people, they don't get motivated, they are just wherever they are. We are not discussing them. Now, the purpose of studying this chapter is to understand the various theories of motivation, to apply the theory into what we see around us, and then see how human motivation can be taken forward. The purpose of motivation is to ensure that people are naturally wanting to do some task that is given to them. A. B. In this natural way in which they are doing the task, they must also feel that it is worth it and they must feel rewarded. Now when these two factors come, they experience what is popularly called as job satisfaction. Right? Now these are a few starting sentences which I wanted to tell you, because with this we can take the module forward. The concept of motivation. Motivation comes from the Latin word move, which means to move. So motivation is a movement. It's a movement of thought. It's a moment of an energy which you experience. A surge. Something that takes you up. Something that makes you feel, yes, I want to do it. And you do it because you want to do it, not because somebody else is telling you to do it. So stop using the sentence saying that I motivated him. We cannot motivate anybody except ourselves. The term motivation is applicable only for self, not for others. I can inspire you. I can create conditions where you will feel motivated, but I cannot motivate you, technically speaking, in this context. So what I can do is I can create conditions, make things interesting, make things attractive so that you come forward and you start getting the surge in you so that you can do the thing on your own. I can take the horse to the water, I can't make it drink. That statement is applicable when it comes to motivation. Right? 3 basic processes lead to motivation. This is one of the old theories. There is an arousal, there is a direction, and there is a maintenance of a behavior. Motivation is a type of a behavior. I am sitting in a certain comfort zone, and then suddenly something tells me, it excites me. That's arousal. And this excitement makes me choose. Either I get excited and I want to go in the direction, or I feel excited and I choose to be wherever I am. If I go in the direction, I'm using the motivation energy towards movement to create a behavior. If I choose to be there, the motivation energy is still within me, but it gets wasted. So what am I implying? When there's a motivation energy rising in you, do act upon it and do make things happen. There are people who feel so happy when they see something, highly excited. They show motivation. But they don't do anything about it. Here we are talking about action. A motivation has to result in an action. So there's an arousal, there's a direction, and finally there's a maintenance of behavior. So when I start acting upon it, what is behavior? Socially driven purposeful action. So when I act upon it, there's a sustained energy over a period of time, and how long the energy is spent. It goes on. Now again, when it comes to motivation, it varies from person to person. It is subjective. There are people who get motivated for 5 minutes, after that they are again back to their original self. There are people who sustain motivation throughout the day. There are people who require constantly push, inspiration. Constantly they need to be reminded. Constantly they need to be given what is called as positive strokes. There are people who need that. Now, all said and done, people need motivation. People need motivation. Right? So, these are the 3 different steps: arousal, direction and maintenance. Now, motivation model. This is discussing the motivation model. Motivation begins with an inner state of need efficiency. Underline the word need. Let me pause and explain a few things. I'm going to be explaining what is called as the need drive theory of motivation given in the bracket at the bottom of the slide. I'm going to be explaining the need drive theory of motivation given at the bottom of the slide in brackets. All motivation is need based. All motivation is need based. What is need? Need points out towards a deficit. I'll give you a symbolic example. I am sitting in a comfort zone. Now in this comfort zone where I'm sitting, I am feeling quite okay right now. Now this is not physical, this is to be understood from a different angle. I am feeling quite comfortable right now talking to you. If suddenly I feel thirsty, what would happen to me? This comfort with which I am talking to you will suddenly reduce. When a comfort reduces, what happens to us? We start getting irritated. A certain amount of stress, irritation will take place. Now, my comfort zone was so much, it gets shrunk to a smaller area. Now, when the comfort zone gets shrunk to a smaller area, automatically, within me, there's an energy called the instinct, a drive. I don't have to think, it automatically happens. So what will this energy do? This energy will create a behavior which will restore the comfort zone back to the original. I repeat, I have an existing comfort zone and this comfort zone gets reduced when I feel thirsty. And this comfort zone, when it gets reduced, what happens? I get a stress or an irritation. Almost instantly, there comes a drive which restores the comfort zone through an action. Almost instantly, there comes a drive that restores the comfort zone back to the normal through an action. This action is the motivation. This drive of restoring back to the comfort zone that is original is considered as motivation. The need arises because there is a deficit. The need arises because there is a deficit. Something is in shortage. I am thirsty because my body is having a temporary shortage of water. So what I do instinctively, I reach out to the bottle of water and I drink it. This process, when it happens, it results in a fulfillment of my need. I go back to the comfort zone. This fulfillment of a need results in a state which is called as satisfaction. Satisfaction is the state which one reaches when one's need is fulfilled. If I take this bottle of water and I drink it immediately, then I feel highly satisfied. I let out a signal, ah. Now this particular indication tells me that I am feeling satisfied. It's a signal of satisfaction. Right? Whenever a need is fulfilled, the individual goes through 100% fulfillment, no dilution, and that 100% fulfillment is equal to satisfaction. Another interesting thing, when a need is fulfilled instantly, that is called as instant gratification. Instant gratification. If I delay my need fulfillment, right now I am talking to you on the camera, let us assume that I am thirsty. Now if I delay this for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes or till the session gets over, what would happen to me is my irritation will increase and I may decide to have the water later. As adults, we are taught manners, we are taught etiquettes, but as children, we are spontaneous. When we are children, when we feel thirsty, we immediately drink water. When we grow up, our parents teach us how to wait till the guests go away and then take the glass of milk or the chocolate or something else. Right? So what are we taught? Instead of instant gratification, which is what animals do, which is what instinct makes us do, we grow up as social animals and we are taught what is called as delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. So instead of drinking the water now, by giving an interruption to the session, I may choose to drink it later, somewhere midway or after the session is over. Right? Now, this delayed gratification is coming not because of instinct, something gets superimposed on the instinct. Although I feel the instinct, my mind comes into the picture, my thoughts come into the picture, my rational comes into the picture. So as we grow up, the instinct is overridden by the rational. That's why even when we are hungry in the office at 1 o'clock, our thinking makes us do the work. The hunger is there and your thinking does not experience the hunger, although the hunger is there. And then we land up eating food at 2:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock, even 5. It happens to the so-called hard-driving executives who are achieving the progress of the Indian economy. I'm putting it a little differently. Right? Now, people neglect their own needs and they go towards wants and greed. What are wants? Need plus desire gives you a want. When I'm thirsty, I need water. When I get water, I am satisfied. Instead of water, suppose I choose to have a bottle of Coke, a cola. What happens? The cola may give me satisfaction, very high satisfaction. And I'll feel fantastic about it today, right now. Tomorrow, again I'm thirsty at the same time and I may reach out for a bottle of Coke. Will I get the same level of satisfaction like today? Will it be more, will it be less, or will it be equal? You have the answer. It will never be more. It will never be equal because it cannot happen. It might happen equal by default but not by design. What have I catered to myself? I have not catered to my need, I have catered to my want. So today I had Coke, I had a peak experience. Tomorrow when I go to the restaurant and ask for the second bottle of Coke, my expectations come in. Where does the expectation come from? It comes from a memory. So whenever a want is fulfilled, it leaves a memory. That memory starts comparing future events to come, so that the future wants are always in constant comparison with the earlier fulfillments. This goes like a roller coaster. Sometimes I'm satisfied, sometimes I'm not satisfied, sometimes I'm satisfied, sometimes I'm not satisfied. Up and down, crisscrossing. So what happens? We are dissatisfied, we are satisfied, we are dissatisfied, we are satisfied. Right? So what is the point I'm driving across? Whenever a need is fulfilled, it results in 100% satisfaction. Whenever a want is fulfilled, it results in varying degrees of satisfaction and dissatisfaction, like a roller coaster. Another interesting phenomenon which must have never occurred to you is whenever a need is fulfilled, it never leaves a memory behind because it is driven by instinct. Whenever a want is fulfilled, it leaves a memory. Do you remember the times you were thirsty and you had plain water? Do you remember the number of times you had plain water to fulfill your thirst, which resulted in total satisfaction? Does it come as a memory saying that water when I took when I was thirsty that day was so good? Do you ever remember that? Or for that matter, a deep sleep you had? It just happened because that was the time you got full satisfaction. So the point to be noted is that unless a need is fulfilled, one does not experience full satisfaction. That state which you experience when your need is fulfilled is called as satisfaction. That energy, that drive that takes you towards the satisfaction is called as motivation. Motivation is not always seen in behavior. In fact, some behaviors are so deceptive that you may feel the person is motivated. There are stereotypical thinking that says that if a person is showing a lot of enthusiasm, he is motivated. If he is showing a lot of drive, he is motivated. If he shows a lot of happiness, he is motivated. These are all the stereotypical thinking. As a student of behavior, you're going to pause and look beyond the obvious. And you realize there are a lot of people who put in behavior just to cover up something. That's why I drew the iceberg model of understanding behavior. Behavior is it's outside the surface. Inside what is happening, we do not know. Inside is attitudes, perceptions and values. So it's possible that I'm just to overcome my nervousness for the purpose of some immediate need, I'm trying to show that I'm enthusiastic. Now this enthusiasm is highly deceptive. Take a selection process in an organization. You're selecting people for marketing where it is expected that the person has to be extroverted and motivated. So we have some telltale signs of what a person should be. So in comes a youngster full of beans. He talks so confidently. He talks so enthusiastically. He's showing a lot of drive and he talks about some achievements he has had in the past. And we all go through, we feel fantastically impressed about him. And we hire him. We think that he will be a go-getter and get results. What is the assumption? We feel that he's a motivated guy, self-driven person. But when you actually put him on the job, it's quite likely, not always, it's quite likely that this youngster may show signs of withdrawal and he may not be as much a go-getter as he exhibited in his behavior. That's why I always say don't go by behavior, because in a behavior there's a lot of show. When you pause and start looking at the person closely, you realize that that person is not as he shows his behavior to be. Let's remember one thing. It's only when needs are fulfilled we have a true motivation. When I have that water, the glass of water taken by me when I'm thirsty, that's the time I'm satisfied. Now when I'm satisfied and you come to me and tell me, I want you to climb a mountain, I'll climb a mountain. That is the motivation we are talking about. That's why every theory of motivation which I'm discussing now has the word need. You take any theory of motivation anywhere in the world, there will always be the word need. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Herzberg's two-factor theory of needs, David McClelland's theory of needs. Everything will have the word need, not want. So it confirms the fact that motivation is a need-based behavior, not something that is coming out of external reasons or external conditions alone. I, as a trainer, lay a lot of emphasis on the inside to know if this person is really fulfilled. You may earn tons of money. You must have reached the level of a vice president or an executive director or a director of a company. You may be having everything in you, but inside you there must be some need that is not fulfilled that shows in the behavior. Although you may exhibit a lot of things outside, but a keen eye can observe that there is some deficit here. And that deficit remains a deficit till you address it. If you want to really feel motivated about anything in life, then first and foremost recognize the needs inside you. One by one, each need you need to recognize. First and foremost, cater to the needs, fulfill the needs, don't repress. Don't get into delayed gratification. Ensure that these needs are properly taken care of, and then you proceed. This is something few people do, many people don't do. Because human needs are categorized into two, being human beings. One is my individual needs, the other one is the social needs. These are the two categories. Many times, because of my social interaction with people, my individual needs are given a secondary position. I don't even recognize it, and I don't even take care of myself. Many examples. As we go down the discussion, we'll be getting in touch with those examples. So this brief introduction on the need drive theory of motivation I wanted to give you. Right? So, taking it further, this deficiency produces disequilibrium or a lack of equilibrium. The comfort zone gets shrunk. It's a disequilibrium or tension of an urge to fulfill the need deficiency. I've already explained this to you. It leads to a drive towards fulfilling the need deficiency. And this particular behavior of resetting my comfort zone back to the normal is called as motivation. So, what we are covering here is theories of motivation. In theories of motivation, we are actually getting in touch with those studies done by behavioral scientists, researchers, clinical psychologists, and various people. There has been a constant upgradation of these theories. What we are studying are the historical theories. But for modern relevance, for the contemporary relevance, we need to also get in touch with the theories which are today. Let's understand one thing. Human behavior gets evolved. What was observed at one point of time, on that basis some theories were created. They may not be valid today totally, but they are sure indicators about what human beings could do. So it's important for us to study these theories to know in which direction each researcher, each behavioral scientist looked at the motivation of human beings. Okay? So theories are basically studies which are giving us some direction, how to recognize motivation and thereby bring about productivity in the organizations. It is also applicable at the very, very personal level. In fact, I would recommend that first and foremost, as an individual, you need to recognize your needs. Fulfill your needs. If the needs are not fulfilled, then you have a problem. That problem gets taken out into the society and at the workplace. So, my motivation should start from my home, from my organic family, from the place where I live. If those are not taken care of, there is an issue. Okay? Theories of motivation are the outcome of series of studies, observations and inferences done by various contributors to the management thought process. These theories have passed through various stages of growth, evolution and adaptation, starting from the days of F.W. Taylor, the father of scientific management. Taking it further, in the beginning of the classical or the scientific management approach of Taylor, people were considered as logical hands, inverted commas, that produce output. You know, the expression still remains these days, give me 10 hands, give me 20 hands. That means I want people to give their manual labor. So those days, during the second industrial revolution and afterwards, post 1930s in the US, people were only talking about hands. I want somebody to do the work. So the behavior part of it, the human side of the person was not given that much amount of importance in terms of looking in that direction. The underlying cause of the people working to produce output was assumed to be driven by the desire to earn most possible money. So what was the motivator those days? It was expressly assumed, since it was a country that went through a lot of economic issues, they were just recovering from depression, and the need of the whole country was money, money and more money. And people needed money also, obviously. So what affects the macro affects the micro. So when people needed the money, it was expressly assumed that give more money, people will work more. And that is how the philosophy has come into being, saying that money motivates. Now money motivates is a philosophy that's coming from the Western management thought process. If I can just add a word or two, in the Indian management thought process, money is not the greatest motivator, is not the motivator. The way our businesses have been running since centuries is not based on money alone. It is not that you give money and people are going to work more. That is not the underlying philosophy with the Eastern cultures have been working. Now this Western culture is assuming that people get motivated because of money. Right or wrong is not what I'm saying. It is just a snapshot. Right? This led to the creation of elaborate financial incentive schemes. That's why today the whole world is talking about money, money and money. And they say that more money means more motivation. But we all know by now, by today, that money is not the motivator. It is one of the important motivators, but not the motivator. With that, you can't buy human motivation at all, totally. Right? Next, we talk about recent researchers, however, have shown that human behavior could not be explained with the assumption that people work driven by their desire to earn more money. People don't work for money alone. Today's researchers have proved it. Take the case of BPOs. No offense meant. The nature of the work, the way some of the BPO cultures are, not all, you find that people don't stick on there in spite of giving them good salaries, good packages. Because it's not about the money. It's proving that it's not about money. It's about the nature of the work. It's about the way things are driven down. It's about the way people are not treated well. I am not talking about all BPOs. So those of you coming from very good BPOs, pardon me, it's only about the way certain types of functions operate, certain types of organizations operate, certain types of industries operate. Right? So the nature of the business is such that by design or default, human sensitivity is lost. We are tapping on the human muscle, human intellectual capital, rather than understanding the emotions and the behavioral aspects. So they began to look for certain other factors that drive human behavior. When they realized that money alone is not the motivator, this had to happen. Now we come across Elton Mayo, about whom we have discussed in Principles of Management, in the second chapter, Development of Management Thought. Elton Mayo and his famous Hawthorne experiments. So what did he do? He and his team conducted the famous Hawthorne experiments to study the effects of fatigue factors, underlying fatigue factors, combined with payment by results. He wanted to ascertain whether the girls who were working in the light bulb manufacturing factory in Western Electric in US, Chicago, whether they could produce more. Then he correlated with the lighting conditions in the factory. He conducted a series of experiments. Finally, he did correlate empirically, saying that the lighting conditions impacted the working, the motivation of the person, the girls who were working there, which led to a increased output. So when you improve the working conditions or the lighting conditions, what happens to the human motivation? It increases. You feel nice and you give more than the expected output. When I give more than expected output, what happens? I could give you more payment. So the purpose of the study again was monetary in nature, although we were focusing on behavior. Earlier, what was the assumption? The assumption was that lighting conditions, other things did not matter. I give you money, you will work. I give you more money, you will give more work. I give you more money, you will give more work. As simple as that. Okay, this was the assumption. Now here there was a change in the thought process. The findings of the experiments confirmed the role of human relations as a means of motivating employees. Human beings mattered. They are not hands, they are hands, head and heart, the 3H which I defined. So it's not enough to just give them money, you have to treat them well, you have to give them good conditions of working, and that makes them feel much more comfortable. They'll give output on their own. What are you doing in this case? You are fulfilling the need. When I fulfill the need, the individual feels good. He feels that element. And when he feels what happens? He is in a position to take up challenges. When you don't give him the basic needs and you expect him to take challenges, which is what many companies do today, how do you expect him to work and give you productivity all the time? Difficult. Okay? A new angle towards understanding human employee motivation emerged. Employees get motivated not because of desire for money alone. They even get motivated when they are treated well behaviorally. When I treat you well, when I have a good behavior with you, definitely you will give out your best. Why? Because that is a social need of every individual. That I want to be treated well. I want to be respected. I want to be loved. I want to be cared. Right? So when these things happen, when I genuinely do that to you, why would you not give out your best and better than the best? Surely you'll do that. And these studies and findings gave rise to various series of motivation, each developed on certain understanding. Each one looked at the human motivation from different angles. And there were experiments conducted and the findings were given out in the form of a theory. The more contemporary theories mainly comprise three categories: content theories, process theories. The third one is not a category, reinforcement theory, which is as old as mankind. So we'll be discussing all the three now. Let's take it further. The content theories of work motivation, these use individual needs in understanding of job satisfaction and work behavior. Underline the word individual needs. What are the content theories? Two theories are there: content and process. Content theories are addressing what motivates, WHAT capital. They address external conditions. I am the human being and outside him is external. So what motivates? If the content theory I have to apply now to myself right now, if I have to apply as an example, then what motivates me? The content theory will say the lighting conditions in the room, the quiet atmosphere, the comfortable AC, and the tech support which I am getting from my colleagues who are sitting here. Now this is external. What motivates? But you will also agree that in spite of all this motivation, which is external to me, I may not get motivated enough because some need in me may not be fulfilled. It's possible that I'm not feeling comfortable because of a health issue. Just giving an example. So what will happen is, in spite of all those beautiful things around me, which is supposed to motivate me, inside me, something is not making me feel comfortable. And that may show in the way I deliver the lecture, this particular topic. So one may be left wondering that in spite of everything given, how come this faculty is not in a position to give out the best? It's quite possible that inside something is bothering me, which is not fulfilled. So the question arises. The first one we say, what motivates external conditions? When the what does not have an answer, then I have to ask a question, how to motivate this person? Why is he not motivated? Two questions, why and how. Inside story. Talking in terms of the iceberg, in the iceberg, what motivates is outside the water, behavior. How and why is inside the water, attitude, perceptions and values. So inside me something is not happening, something is unfulfilled. So I'm feeling irritated. So when I talk to you, it will show on you. It will show on my behavior. Right? So there are two types of theories. Content theory is addressing what motivates, which is external, whereas process theory is addressing why and the how of the motivation inside the person. Which is more important to be understood? The inside. Inside is tough to understand because it is below the water. It's inside you. But process trainers, behavioral trainers, leadership trainers, they go deeper into this and try to understand what's happening. And that requires tremendous amount of study, tremendous amount of practice, tremendous amount of exposure to varied human behavior. If a person is operating only with a narrow band of people, apna types, then he may not be able to understand human behavior. Okay, but on the contrary, if he is daring and he is dealing with all different types of people, not only in his own profession, not only in his own community, not only in his own culture and religion, then he is expanding himself to understanding human behavior at large. Such people get in touch with the inside part of the motivation. That's very important. Those of you who are aspiring to become HR people, those of you who want to become trainers like me, learn to understand one thing. You've got to look at the world from an expansive angle. You have to learn to deal with all different types of people. In fact, more difficult the person is, the more you learn about the inside story. And you must be open to an experience. Being open to an experience helps you to understand that how your perceptions themselves have got their own limitations. You start understanding the world from a 360-degree angle, not from your angle alone. Not from a few academic things which you have learned here and there. Not from some training program where they teach you etiquettes and manners, a few things here and there. No. It should be experiential. If I want to understand human motivation, I've got to go through an experience. My experience will tell me how different people are compared to what I am and what I assume. Why is it that in spite of giving increment regularly to my driver, he bunks? It's because I think money is motivating him, whereas he has a different need. Have I recognized his need? How will I recognize his need? What is the word I'm using? How? I ask how and why, and when I go inside, when I ask him questions, when I try to know more about him, I realize, oh my God, he doesn't want money, he wants something else. So when I recognize that he wants something else, I give him that something else, which is so important for him. It is an oxygen ozone for him. And when I give him, what happens is a magic. And I realize that even without giving in increments, this guy does a good job. I'm not saying stop increments. I'm only suggesting that those monetary things alone do not motivate. So there are two types of theories. The what part of the theories, which is content-based theories, content theories of motivation. The why and the how part of it, which are the process theories of motivation. Okay? Now in the content theories, we are covering 4 of them. Maslow's need hierarchy theory, or Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow's pyramid. Different names are given in different books. Very popular theory, most of you must be knowing it. We have already covered in HRM also. Right? Second is Clayton Elderfer's ERG theory. Third one is Herzberg's two-factor theory, or Frederick Herzberg's two-factor theory, or hygiene theory we call it. And the last one is David McClelland's achievement theory. Okay? Let's take the first one. Maslow's need hierarchy theory. You can refer to the pyramid that is there in your textbook, and I'll explain to you as you are referring to that. Abraham Maslow created the need hierarchy theory, in which he observed that human needs, underline the word needs, are arranged in a hierarchical manner with 2 levels comprising of 5 stages. If you look at the pyramid in your book, it's got 5 stages and 2 levels. The bottom 2 levels are the primary level or level 1, and the top 3 stages are called as a level 2. The bottom 2 are what are called as a deficiency needs or individual needs. When the bottom 2 are talking about what? Physiological needs. Bottommost. Roti kapda makan. The basics, if they are taken care of, then and only then I go to the second level, which is a security needs. It is individual to me. I must be taking care of my basic comfort zone. When my clothing, shelter and food is taken care of, then I'll think of a security. It's then and only then I go to the third stage, which is the second level, in which I talk about the social needs, wanting to relate to people, wanting to be recognized, wanting to belong, wanting to be loved. to love and be loved. Social needs. Wanting to be a part of an association. Getting in touch with my old school friends or my college friends or my community. These are the social needs. Then when the social needs are satisfied, more than satisfied, and I know that tomorrow's social needs will also be taken care of, then and only then I go to the fourth stage, which is the ego needs, or also called as esteem needs. I want to do something remarkable wherein I am recognized. Doing a post-graduation in management, like what you guys are doing. Or doing something, getting into some sport, or learning some music instrument. Composing songs, playing a game. Okay, doing some NGO work. Those are all ego needs. It comes to that particular ego needs. It's being done for the purpose of fulfilling your ego, or showing that I can do this and I want people to recognize me. Then comes, most of our life is spent in the stage 3 and 4. And we are doing a lot of things to take care of that. At one stage in your life, suddenly you'll come to a level wherein you'll find that you have a need in you to do something without any agenda. I just want to do it because I enjoy doing it. I just want to do it. Something in you tells you that I want to do it because I have no agenda, I just want to do it. Charity. Helping someone into studies without taking any fees from them. Going and helping a person cross the road unconditionally, even when you're busy. Now when you do this, that particular need, which is there in all human beings, a very, very subtle need, that need is spiritual in nature, in content. That need is called as self-actualization. When you are in touch with that particular need and you fulfill it, you start experiencing your life as complete. If any one of you wants to feel complete about your life, get in touch with that moment when you want to do something. It's a spark that comes, and do it there and then. My appeal to you is, all of you must have experienced at some point of time that I want to do something now. Suddenly your logic will come, your worldly thinking will come, it will tell you, "Theek hai, we'll do it tomorrow." For example, while you're listening to me now, you may want to give charity to someone unconditionally. You just feel, "Nahi, I want to do something." Now, I always feel that when I want to do something which is coming so fast and with a lot of emotion and feeling, let me do it now. The moment I delay, the spiritual content is lost. Self-actualization means a thought comes to you and the thought is so expensive that you want to do it. And you do it immediately. When you do it immediately, that gives you the completeness of your life. It makes you fulfilled. Okay? So, these are the 5 stages which Abraham Maslow talks about. I think there are some more in the next few slides. Let's go through it. The first stage is the physiological needs, while the second stage is security and safety needs. The third stage is the social needs. Together they comprise the deficiency needs level. The author is talking about the first three needs from the bottom. Stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3, he's calling it as a deficiency needs level. In some other books, you can find the first 2 levels are called as the deficiency needs or level 1. Whichever way you want to look at it, it's perfectly okay. It's each one's interpretations and perception which are different. The fourth stage is the esteem needs, while the fifth and the last stage is the self-actualization needs. These 2 stages form the social needs level. These 2 stages form the social needs level. Okay?